Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the biggest mistake young people make. Robert Kiyosaki is an investor, an entrepreneur, an author, a motivational speaker, and a financial knowledge activist. He has successfully built everlasting wealth through real estate, investing, and speaking events. Doing what you love. Another big mistake that young people make is that when it comes to their career, they always want to do what they love. Yet in real life, people are at times required to do what they hate because it fulfills their purpose in life. So in order to become rich, say like own a big business, a person will have to do what they don't love doing. For example, given that owning a business gives people the chance to make a lot of money, one may have to learn about debt and insurance, which are small steps that could lead to becoming wealthy. Thus, individuals who navigate more to being employed or to self-employment, no matter their career path, when one pursues what they are passionate about, they become greedy. But when one follows a purpose, then they serve people. When you live your passion, you don't get to create assets and you don't get to own a big business, unlike when you live a purposeful life. When you're a professional investor, you don't have to buy stocks or mutual funds because you can instead create your own assets. Also, when you do what you love, like maybe getting a job, you'll get taxed. And here, remember that you will not have much money because the government takes all of your money. When you do what you love, nobody comes after you because you own a business or become a professional investor. Chances are that you might get sued. So for one to succeed in this sector, they must learn about taxes and lawsuits. Assets. Young people also make big mistakes when it comes to assets. They mostly think of what they want to do instead of investing in what they love. According to Robert Kiyosaki, young people should focus their minds on being professional investors, instead of focusing on being employed or starting a small business. Now, the difference between owning a big business with over 500 employees and owning a small business or being employed is that you always have to work. And besides, when one is self-employed, then they have to keep working. But when you have a big business, then you can stop working. When it comes to owning a business, the process is pretty painful, but in the end, it's all worthwhile. To own a business, one has to dedicate time to study. They must learn about taxes, debt, insurance, lawsuits, and accounting. Owning a business gives one a stepping stone to much bigger rewards because once you have a lot of money, you can get into real estate. And by doing what you hate, you could end up owning assets that you love. Also, owning a business will likely enable you to live an exemplary lifestyle. According to Robert Kiyosaki, is that if a person does what they love, they never gain financial independence. They never get to become a professional investor, and they never own big businesses. People like Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, and Zuckerberg own most of the money in the world because they own big businesses. Chasing shiny objects. Another big mistake that young people make is chasing shiny objects. This could refer to the Bitcoin that has recently attracted the attention of both young and older people. Note that you cannot make money out of Bitcoin, but that instead of investing in assets, you could be chasing shiny short-term objects. Young people don't want to involve themselves in things that have the highest risk, such as owning a big business. Most importantly is that the things that require one to risk highly, then they will likely require more education. If you compare the high-risk investments with Bitcoin, you'll quickly learn that you don't need any education to own Bitcoin, and thus there are no risks involved. Young people are more inclined to have a job and job security, which prevents them from owning big businesses and from becoming professional investors. What they don't realize is that the higher the risks that they take, the higher the returns that they could make. The above also calls for higher dedication, education, and studies. Robert Kiyosaki dedicated time and energy and effort to owning a big business and to becoming a professional investor. In the process, he lost money and also spent a good chunk of it, but in the end, he now makes more in a day than most people make in a lifetime. According to the author, when you focus on your career alone, you'll end up being poor. Liquidity. Now, most people prefer buying stock, or the ETFs, is because they can get out when they make a mistake, and here they also get to remain liquid. But once they cross over to real estate, they don't remain liquid. The more reason why one should always ensure that they're smarter when going in, because once they make a mistake, it's going to be a lot harder to get out. The same goes to owning a business. Once you own one, it's going to be harder to get out. When a big business gets into trouble, employees could leave. But the owner cannot, and this is where liquidity comes in. Stocks, savings, mutual funds, and ETFs are good for most people because they're liquid. But running a business and dealing in gold or oil is not easy to get out of, and the more reason you should not make a mistake with them. And the more reason why you should have to study hard and create a sharp mind when dealing with those things. In essence, is that the less liquid a person is, the higher their financials. IQ. Most people are capable of being so smart, but they prefer to do what they love instead of investing in what they love. The lessons that Robert Kiyosaki teaches about getting rich defy what people have been traditionally taught in school. Most people are encouraged to follow their passion and to do what they love to achieve success. Unbeknownst to them is that by focusing specifically on what they love, they will not provide the long-term financial independence and freedom, where you don't have to work hard to stay alive or to live the good life. You'll also note that doing what you hate involves some aspects of doing what you love, such as studying, only that for one to be very successful, they have to study more than one subject. According to Robert Kiyosaki, young people tend to be so relaxed and think that they're too young to start working and invest in their future. He believes that the greatest asset that people can have is time, and it can also be their liability. When a person is young, they have a lot of fun and they're careless in what they do, and don't put much thought into their future, financial independence, or freedom. Youngsters' dreams of making big bucks, however, how they go about it is almost a sure way of ending up poor or broke, a huge percentage of their lifetime. So one of the biggest mistakes that they make as they venture into financial independence is that they look for employment or they dedicate their energy to self-employment or starting small businesses. Some youths lean so much into their careers by becoming and remaining specialists in various fields, such as being a lawyer or a doctor. Yet the big bucks can only be found in being a professional investor or in owning big businesses. Failing to invest. Owning a big business with over 500 employees can generate a lot of income, but it's also the hardest route to financial independence and freedom. What's more is that it takes a lot of time to finally own a big business because of the learning process involved. People are therefore encouraged to invest in assets because that's the way they become even richer. Robert Kiyosaki is strategic on how he invests, and that's why he stands by his sentiments that for one to be successful, they must have a higher IQ. For example, he's known to hedge against the dollar using gold and silver, and will remain liquid by buying gold and silver ETFs. According to him, the more money a person makes, the more they spend, and that's why more money never makes anyone rich. That's it for today's video. Share with us the biggest mistake you made as a young person and whether you agree with Robert Kiyosaki's biggest mistake young people make. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.